The old Johnson farm, nestled in the heart of Oak Ridge County, had long been forgotten by the townsfolk. Its sprawling fields, once teeming with life and laughter, had fallen into disrepair. The farmhouse, weathered and decaying, stood as a melancholic monument to a time when the land had thrived. For years, the farm had remained untouched, its secrets buried beneath overgrown weeds and crumbling barns. But all of that was about to change. Evelyn Turner, an ambitious journalist with a fascination for the obscure and the unexplained, had stumbled upon the farm's existence in a dusty, forgotten tome at the town's library. The book contained cryptic references to the Johnson farm and whispered tales of a curse that had befallen it. Driven by a desire for a story that would catapult her career, Evelyn made her way to the forgotten farm, unaware of the horrors that awaited her. Evelyn Turner's journey to the Johnson farm was filled with trepidation and excitement in equal measure. As she approached the farmstead, the dilapidated buildings came into view, casting long shadows over the land. The farmhouse, with its peeling paint and broken windows, stood eerily silent, as if holding its breath in anticipation of her arrival. The fields, once lush and green, had become a tangle of weeds and thorns, concealing the farm's secrets beneath their overgrowth. Evelyn parked her car near the entrance gate and stepped out, her camera in hand and a sense of foreboding in her heart. She knew she had ventured into the unknown, and the farm's haunting aura seemed to welcome her with open arms. Evelyn began her exploration of the Johnson farm, her footsteps echoing through the abandoned buildings. The air was thick with the scent of decay, and the creaking of floorboards beneath her feet sent shivers down her spine. She ventured into the farmhouse first, her camera's flashlight piercing the darkness. Dust-covered furniture stood frozen in time, and faded photographs of the Johnson family lined the walls. Evelyn's heart ached as she wondered what had become of them. As she continued her exploration, she couldn't help but feel that the farm held memories that refused to fade with time. Whispers of the past seemed to linger in the air, waiting to be discovered. Evelyn's investigation of the farm unearthed a series of strange and unsettling discoveries. In the barn, she found peculiar symbols etched into the wooden beams, their meaning eluding her. In the cellar, she stumbled upon jars filled with pickled vegetables that appeared to have been preserved for decades. The more she delved into the farm's mysteries, the more questions arose. Who had lived here, and why had they abandoned it? What was the significance of the cryptic symbols, and why were the vegetables preserved for so long? As night descended, Evelyn decided to spend the night in the farmhouse, determined to unravel the secrets that the Johnson farm held. Little did she know that her decision would plunge her into a nightmare from which there might be no escape. As darkness settled over the Johnson farm, Evelyn prepared to spend the night in the old farmhouse. She set up her camera equipment and began recording her findings, hoping to capture evidence of the farm's eerie atmosphere. The farmhouse seemed to come alive with eerie sounds, whispers in the walls, the distant creaking of floorboards, and an occasional draft that sent shivers down Evelyn's spine. She dismissed these as tricks of the imagination, but her unease continued to grow. As the clock struck midnight, a bone-chilling presence seemed to manifest within the farmhouse. Shadows danced in the corners of the room, and a frigid breeze swept through, extinguishing the candles she had lit. The atmosphere grew heavy with an oppressive energy, and Evelyn realized she was not alone in the farmhouse. Evelyn's heart raced as she realized that she was not alone in the farmhouse. A malevolent presence, unseen but undeniably felt, loomed over her. It whispered in a language she could not understand, its voice a cold, rasping hiss. Panic gripped Evelyn as she fumbled for her camera, desperate to document the supernatural occurrences unfolding around her. But the camera malfunctioned, its screen displaying only static. The entity's presence intensified, its anger palpable. Furniture moved on its own, books flew off shelves, and the very walls seemed to close in on her. Evelyn knew that she had ventured into a realm of horror beyond her comprehension, and escape seemed impossible. As the malevolent entity continued to torment Evelyn, fragments of the farm's dark past began to unravel before her eyes. Visions of the Johnson family, once happy and full of life, now distorted by tragedy, flashed through her mind. She saw the family patriarch, Charles Johnson, driven to madness by an unknown force, scribbling cryptic symbols on the walls and muttering incomprehensible incantations. She witnessed the anguish of Sarah Johnson, the matriarch, as she desperately tried to protect her children from the encroaching darkness. Evelyn realized that the farm's curse was tied to a sinister event from its past, an event that had left an indelible mark on the land and its inhabitants. The malevolent entity sought retribution for a long-forgotten transgression, and Evelyn was trapped in its quest for vengeance. Evelyn's night in the farmhouse turned into a relentless nightmare. The malevolent entity, fueled by anger and a thirst for revenge, subjected her to a barrage of supernatural torment. Objects levitated and hurled themselves across the room. Furniture rearranged itself into grotesque configurations, and the walls seemed to bleed with dark, viscous liquid. Evelyn's very sense of reality was unraveling, and terror clung to her like a suffocating shroud. As the hours passed, Evelyn's strength waned, and her determination to document the farm's horrors was overshadowed by the desperate need to survive. She knew that if she did not find a way to appease the malevolent entity, her fate would be sealed in the darkest depths of the Johnson farm. As the malevolent entity's torment continued to escalate, Evelyn's nights in the Johnson farm became a relentless cycle of terror. Each night, she experienced haunting visions that transported her back in time to witness the farm's darkest moments. One night, she found herself standing in the dilapidated barn, surrounded by flickering candlelight. She watched as Charles Johnson, driven to madness, conducted a ritual within a pentagram drawn on the barn's floor. His eyes were wide with terror, and his words were unintelligible. Beside him, Sarah Johnson clutched her children close, tears streaming down her face as she begged for mercy. The malevolent entity loomed over them, a grotesque shadow that seemed to feed on their fear. Evelyn knew that these visions held the key to understanding the farm's curse, but deciphering their meaning would be a daunting challenge. Evelyn was determined to unravel the mystery of the Johnson farm's curse, and the haunting visions provided the clues she needed. Night after night, she witnessed the tragic events that had befallen the family. In one vision, she saw Charles Johnson's obsession with the occult, his descent into madness, and his misguided attempts to harness supernatural powers. His rituals, fueled by a dark force he could not control, had unleashed the malevolent entity that now tormented the farm. Another vision revealed the heartbreak of Sarah Johnson as she struggled to protect her children from the malevolent entity's relentless attacks. She had made desperate bargains and sacrifices, but the entity's thirst for vengeance remained unquenched. Evelyn realized that to break the curse and free the Johnson farm from its torment, she needed to understand the entity's origins and find a way to appease it. The answers lay buried in the farm's tragic history. Evelyn's quest for answers led her to the discovery of an old diary hidden in the farmhouse's attic. The diary belonged to Sarah Johnson and chronicled the family's descent into darkness. In its pages, Sarah recounted her husband's growing obsession with the occult and the sinister rituals he had conducted in a desperate bid for power. She described the malevolent entity that had plagued their lives, a vengeful force that demanded a terrible price for Charles's actions. Sarah's entries revealed her own desperation and her attempts to protect her children from the entity's wrath. She had made a chilling pact with the entity, offering it the souls of those who trespassed on the farm in exchange for sparing her family. Evelyn realized that the farm's curse was intricately tied to the malevolent entity's hunger for souls. To break the curse, she would need to confront the entity and find a way to fulfill or sever the sinister pact. Evelyn's determination to confront the malevolent entity and break the curse led her to delve deeper into the sinister pact that Sarah Johnson had made. She scoured the diary for clues, searching for any information that could help her understand the entity's demands. In a chilling entry, Sarah revealed the entity's insatiable appetite for souls and the conditions of their dreadful pact. It demanded the souls of trespassers as a form of payment, and once offered, the souls were forever bound to the malevolent force. Evelyn realized that she had unknowingly become entangled in this cursed pact the moment she had set foot on the Johnson farm. The malevolent entity now sought her soul as its payment, and she had little time to find a way to fulfill or break the sinister bargain. Evelyn knew that her only chance of survival and breaking the curse lay in confronting the malevolent entity. She had to find a way to appease it, fulfill its demands, or sever the cursed pact. Desperate, she returned to the barn where Charles Johnson had conducted his ill-fated rituals. Armed with the knowledge of the entity's insatiable hunger for souls, she began to conduct her own rituals, invoking protective forces to shield herself. The barn became a battleground of supernatural forces, with Evelyn pitted against the malevolent entity that sought to claim her soul. She chanted incantations, drew protective symbols, and summoned all her courage to face the entity head-on. As the climactic battle between light and darkness unfolded, Evelyn's life hung in the balance, and the fate of the Johnson farm teetered on the brink of resolution. The supernatural battle in the barn raged on, with Evelyn determined to confront the malevolent entity and find a way to fulfill its insidious demand. As she continued her rituals, her courage and determination were put to the ultimate test. The malevolent entity, its presence a swirling maelstrom of darkness, seemed to mock her efforts. It whispered threats and promises of eternal torment, seeking to break her resolve. But Evelyn clung to her determination, knowing that the farm's curse must be broken. In a chilling moment of revelation, the entity made its demand clear. It sought a soul, one soul, to satisfy its insatiable hunger. Evelyn had to make a devastating choice, one that would determine the farm's fate and her own. Evelyn stood at a crossroads, faced with the agonizing choice that would determine her fate and the fate of the Johnson farm. The malevolent entity demanded a soul, and she had to decide whether to offer her own or make an unthinkable sacrifice. With a heavy heart, she made her choice. She would offer her own soul as the price to break the farm's curse and end the torment that had plagued it for generations. As she prepared to make the ultimate sacrifice, the barn filled with an eerie, unnatural light. The malevolent entity loomed before her, its shadowy form shifting and writhing. Evelyn's heart raced as she braced herself for the harrowing moment that would seal her fate. With her heart heavy and resolve unwavering, Evelyn offered her soul as the price to break the curse that had plagued the Johnson farm for centuries. As she made the solemn sacrifice, a blinding light engulfed her, and a searing pain coursed through her body. The malevolent entity, its hunger satisfied, let out a haunting, triumphant wail before dissipating into the ether. The barn, once a battleground of supernatural forces, grew still, and an eerie calm settled over the Johnson farm. Evelyn knew that her sacrifice had come at a great cost, but it was a price she was willing to pay to bring an end to the curse and free the farm from its torment. As the malevolent entity vanished, a profound transformation swept over the Johnson farm. The once decaying farmhouse and barn began to show signs of life. The overgrown fields flourished with vibrant crops, and the air, once heavy with darkness, felt pure and revitalized. Evelyn, though weakened by her sacrifice, witnessed the farm's redemption with awe and relief. She knew that her actions had broken the curse's grip on the land and released the tortured souls of the Johnson family. The spirits of Charles, Sarah, and their children appeared before Evelyn, their expressions no longer tormented. They offered their gratitude for her sacrifice, their voices filled with a sense of peace they had long been denied. With the curse lifted, Evelyn's connection to the Johnson farm persisted. One final vision, different from the tormenting ones before, beckoned to her. In this vision, she saw the Johnson family reunited, their ethereal forms bathed in a warm, comforting light. They held hands, their smiles radiant, and together, they walked toward the horizon, vanishing into a brilliant sunrise. The vision left Evelyn with a sense of closure and a deep understanding of the farm's tragic history. The Johnsons were finally at peace, their souls freed from the darkness that had bound them. Evelyn's journey at the Johnson farm had come to an end, but her life was forever changed. She had witnessed and endured the horrors of the supernatural, made an unimaginable sacrifice, and ultimately brought redemption to the farm. As she left the farm behind, she knew that the mysteries of the supernatural world would continue to beckon, but she also understood the importance of leaving some secrets buried. Her experience had taught her the power of courage, sacrifice, and the enduring human spirit. With a newfound appreciation for life and the unknown, Evelyn Turner embarked on a new chapter, forever haunted by the memories of the Johnson farm and the indomitable forces that lurked in the shadows. Months passed since Evelyn's fateful encounter at the Johnson farm. While the memories of that harrowing experience haunted her, life had moved on. She had become a renowned journalist, known for her fearless pursuit of the unexplained. One day, as she reviewed her mail, a letter caught her attention. It bore no return address and was marked with an ornate seal. Inside, she found a handwritten note that sent shivers down her spine. It read, "The secrets of the supernatural world are boundless. If you seek more answers, follow the path of the enigmatic eclipse." The note contained coordinates leading to a remote location deep in the forest, a location known only to those who dabbled in the occult. It was an invitation or a warning. Evelyn couldn't be sure. Intrigued and haunted by the enigmatic message, Evelyn embarked on a journey to the remote forest, guided only by the coordinates she had received. As she ventured deeper into the wilderness, an eerie feeling of being watched gnawed at her. At the heart of the forest, she discovered an ancient stone circle, its origins lost to time. The stones formed a perfect circle, and at the center, a large flat stone bore an intricate carving of a solar eclipse. As Evelyn examined the stone, the sun began to set, casting an eerie shadow over the forest. To her astonishment, the eclipse depicted on the stone began to align with the darkening sky, as if drawing power from the celestial event itself. As Evelyn watched in awe, the eclipse on the stone circle seemed to come alive. Its shadow deepened, and an otherworldly light emanated from the carved celestial event. Before her eyes, the eclipse transformed into a swirling portal, a gateway to the unknown. The forest around her seemed to shift and warp, as if reality itself was bending to the portal's will. Intrigued and filled with a mixture of fear and curiosity, Evelyn stepped closer to the portal. She knew that once she crossed its threshold, there would be no turning back, and the mysteries of the supernatural world would beckon her once more. With a deep breath and a heart pounding with anticipation, Evelyn stepped through the portal, leaving the familiar world behind. What lay beyond was a realm of darkness and wonder, where the laws of reality were rewritten, and the supernatural reigned supreme. She found herself in a surreal landscape, a sprawling, ever-shifting maze of corridors and chambers. Strange creatures, both beautiful and grotesque, roamed the labyrinthine passages, and ethereal whispers echoed through the air. Evelyn knew that she had entered a world untouched by time or logic, a place where ancient secrets awaited discovery. Her journey into the enigmatic eclipse had opened the door to a realm of endless wonder and peril. Evelyn's exploration of the surreal realm led her to a chamber unlike any other, an immense library bathed in an eerie, ethereal light. The shelves were lined with ancient tomes bound in leather that seemed to pulse with a life of their own. As she perused the library shelves, she realized that each book contained knowledge of the supernatural, with topics ranging from forgotten rituals to obscure creatures. The library held the accumulated wisdom of those who had ventured into this realm before her. Evelyn knew that this was a place of both enlightenment and danger. The knowledge contained within these books could unlock untold power or unleash unimaginable horrors. With caution and reverence, she selected a tome and began to decipher its cryptic text. The tome Evelyn had chosen delved into the cosmic mysteries that governed the supernatural realm she had entered. It spoke of a grand cosmic conspiracy, an intricate web of interdimensional forces that shaped the fabric of reality itself. According to the text, The enigmatic eclipse served as a nexus point, a convergence of dimensions where the boundaries between worlds grew thin. Those who could harness its power could gain dominion over the supernatural and reshape reality as they saw fit. Evelyn realized that her journey into this realm was no accident. She had been drawn here to uncover the truth behind the cosmic conspiracy, to understand the forces that govern the supernatural, and to decide whether to protect or expose this hidden knowledge. As Evelyn continued to delve into the mysteries of the library, she became aware of a presence watching her, a spectral figure that materialized from the shadows. It was a guardian of the library, a spectral entity tasked with safeguarding its secrets. The guardian, its form ethereal and ever-shifting, approached Evelyn with a mixture of curiosity and caution. It communicated without words, its thoughts and intentions conveyed through a telepathic connection. Evelyn realized that the guardian held the answers to the questions that had brought her here. It possessed knowledge of the cosmic conspiracy and the supernatural forces that govern this realm. But gaining its trust and unraveling its enigmatic nature would prove to be a daunting challenge. The guardian of the library, its presence a manifestation of the supernatural realm's ancient wisdom, offered Evelyn a choice: to undergo a series of tests that would prove her worthiness to access its knowledge. Evelyn accepted the challenge, knowing that the guardian's tests would reveal not only her determination, but also her true intentions. The first test involved navigating a maze of illusions, where reality itself shifted and distorted. With unwavering resolve, Evelyn pushed forward, relying on her instincts and inner strength to overcome the labyrinth of deception. Each step brought her closer to the guardian's approval, and with each passing test, she gained a deeper understanding of the supernatural forces at play. Having successfully completed the guardian's tests, Evelyn stood before the spectral entity, her determination and respect for the realm's ancient wisdom evident. The guardian, in turn, acknowledged her sincerity and trustworthiness. With a graceful gesture, the guardian unveiled the realm's most profound secrets. It revealed the true nature of the cosmic conspiracy, a delicate balance between light and darkness, creation and destruction, order and chaos. Evelyn learned of the existence of supernatural councils that presided over the realm, their members comprising powerful beings from various dimensions. These councils sought to maintain equilibrium in the cosmic order, ensuring that neither darkness nor light gained absolute dominance. Evelyn's newfound knowledge led her to seek out the cosmic guardians, the powerful beings who oversaw the balance of the supernatural realm. These entities, each a custodian of immense power, held the key to understanding the cosmic conspiracy. With guidance from the guardian of the library, Evelyn embarked on a journey to meet the cosmic guardians. Each encounter would test her resolve, as the guardians were enigmatic and ancient beings, their motives and intentions shrouded in mystery. The first guardian she sought was Veritas, the keeper of truth, who resided in a realm of perpetual twilight. There, Evelyn would face the challenge of discerning truth from illusion, a trial that would determine her readiness to uncover the deeper mysteries of the cosmic conspiracy. Evelyn's journey to meet Veritas, the keeper of truth, led her to a realm bathed in perpetual twilight. The guardian's domain was a place where illusions and reality intertwined, where the boundaries between truth and falsehood were blurred. As Evelyn ventured deeper into this surreal realm, she encountered challenges that tested her perception and discernment. She faced apparitions that mirrored her deepest fears and desires, and she had to rely on her inner strength to distinguish fact from fiction. Veritas observed Evelyn's every move, gauging her ability to navigate the treacherous landscape of truth and illusion. Only those who possessed unwavering determination and an unshakable commitment to unraveling the mysteries of the cosmic conspiracy could earn the Guardian's trust. After enduring a series of trials and tribulations within the realm of Veritas, Evelyn emerged victorious, having proven her ability to discern truth from illusion. The Guardian, impressed by her unwavering determination, revealed the first layer of the cosmic conspiracy, Veritas explained that the cosmic guardians were charged with maintaining the equilibrium between light and darkness, order and chaos, across multiple dimensions. Their duty was to ensure that no single force gained unchecked power, for the consequences of such an imbalance could be catastrophic. Evelyn learned that the enigmatic eclipse acted as a nexus point, allowing those who harnessed its power to influence the balance of the supernatural realm. It was a source of both great potential and great peril, a cosmic anomaly that held the key to shaping the fate of countless worlds. Armed with the knowledge imparted by Veritas, Evelyn continued her quest to seek out the cosmic guardians. Her next destination was the realm of Umbra, where the Council of Shadows presided. This council consisted of enigmatic beings who maintained the delicate balance between light and darkness. The realm of Umbra was a place of perpetual twilight, where shadows danced and secrets thrived. Evelyn's journey would take her deep into the heart of this mysterious realm, where she would encounter the shadowy council and confront challenges that tested her understanding of the cosmic conspiracy. With each step, she drew closer to uncovering the deeper layers of the supernatural realm's enigmatic truth. Evelyn's arrival in the realm of Umbra marked the beginning of her encounter with the Council of Shadows. The council members were ancient beings, their forms shrouded in darkness, and their motives veiled in secrecy. To gain an audience with the council, Evelyn had to prove her worthiness by deciphering a series of cryptic riddles and puzzles. Each challenge led her deeper into the shadowy realm, where the very essence of reality seemed to shift and transform. The council members observed Evelyn's progress, their expressions inscrutable. They sought to test her resolve, for they held the secrets of the cosmic conspiracy that could alter the fate of the supernatural realm and beyond. Evelyn's journey through the realm of Umbra and her encounters with the Council of Shadows had finally led her to the heart of their enigmatic domain. In a chamber shrouded in perpetual twilight, the council members revealed the deeper truths of the cosmic conspiracy. The council explained that the balance between light and darkness, order and chaos, was not a static equilibrium, but a perpetual struggle. Forces beyond human comprehension sought to tip the scales in their favor, and the enigmatic eclipse was the key to their machinations. Evelyn learned that the cosmic guardians, including Veritas and the Council of Shadows, were tasked with safeguarding the enigmatic eclipse and preventing its power from falling into the wrong hands. Those who sought to exploit the eclipse's power for their own gain threatened the very fabric of reality. Armed with newfound knowledge and the guidance of the cosmic guardians, Evelyn stood at a crossroads. She had uncovered the intricate web of the cosmic conspiracy, the delicate balance that governed the supernatural realm, and the cosmic forces that sought to shape the fate of countless worlds. The enigmatic eclipse, with its power to influence the balance between light and darkness, held the key to the realm's destiny. Evelyn had a choice to make, a choice that would determine whether she would protect the balance or expose the cosmic conspiracy to the world. Her journey into the supernatural realm had tested her resolve, challenged her understanding of reality, and unveiled the deepest mysteries of the cosmos. Now, the fate of the supernatural realm and the secrets of the enigmatic eclipse rested in her hands. John Thompson, a reclusive writer seeking inspiration, had rented a remote cabin nestled deep within the woods. The cabin was isolated, surrounded by towering pines and the eerie symphony of nocturnal creatures. As John settled into his self-imposed exile, the isolation began to weigh on him, casting long shadows on his once tranquil mind. Days turned into weeks, and John's only companions were the endless pages of his manuscript and the unsettling silence that enveloped him. The isolation was a double-edged sword. It granted him the solitude he sought, yet it also fueled his growing sense of unease. The forest seemed to hold its breath, as if waiting for something that lurked beyond the edge of perception. As the nights grew longer, John's dreams became plagued by vivid, disturbing nightmares. He would wake in a cold sweat, unable to recall the details of the horrors that had unfolded within his subconscious. The line between dream and reality blurred, and the isolation of the cabin began to gnaw at his sanity. One moonless night, John awoke to a sound, a faint whisper that seemed to originate from the depths of the forest. He dismissed it as a trick of his imagination, but the whispers persisted. They echoed through the cabin, their unintelligible words unsettling and disorienting. John felt as though the very walls were conspiring against him. The whispers grew louder, morphing into ghostly apparitions that danced at the edge of John's vision. Pale figures flitted through the cabin, their faces obscured by shadow. They whispered promises of secrets and revelations, drawing John deeper into their ethereal dance. Desperation gnawed at him as he struggled to comprehend their presence. In a hidden corner of the cabin, John stumbled upon an old diary. Its pages were filled with cryptic, handwritten entries that hinted at a dark history. The diary had belonged to a previous occupant of the cabin, a recluse who had succumbed to the isolation and the whispers that haunted the woods. The diary spoke of a malevolent force that dwelled within the forest, a force that craved company and sought to ensnare souls. John's nights grew increasingly tumultuous. He would wake to find his possessions moved, his manuscript scribbled with cryptic symbols, and his sanity unraveling. He became convinced that an unseen intruder prowled the cabin, a malevolent entity that reveled in tormenting him. The whispers grew more coherent, their voices mocking and malevolent. John's descent into madness accelerated as he grappled with the relentless presence that haunted him. He began to record his experiences in a journal, desperate to maintain a semblance of sanity. The isolation had become a prison, and the cabin felt like a malevolent entity in itself, a place where reality and nightmare collided. One moonless night, John decided to confront the entity that had tormented him. Armed with the diary and a makeshift ritual he had gleaned from its pages, he ventured into the forest, guided only by the eerie glow of a lantern. The whispers grew deafening, and the shadows within the woods seemed to coalesce, taking form and substance. Deep within the forest, John stumbled upon a clearing where the whispers converged into a cacophonous chorus. A spectral figure emerged from the darkness, its features twisted into a grotesque semblance of humanity. It revealed itself as the guardian of the forest, a malevolent entity that had ensnared countless souls over centuries. The entity taunted John, revealing that the isolation was its doing, a method to draw in souls ripe for torment. It had whispered secrets and nightmares, feeding on John's fear and despair. It offered a sinister choice: to join the legion of tormented souls, or to become its unwitting puppet, forever bound to the cabin and the forest. With his sanity hanging by a thread, John made a desperate bargain. He offered his manuscript, a vessel of his creativity and soul, in exchange for release from the entity's grasp. The entity hesitated, its ethereal form shifting in contemplation. In a malevolent twist, it agreed, but not before extracting a piece of John's essence, a fragment of his very being. John returned to the cabin, his spirit broken and his creativity drained. He finished his manuscript, but it was a hollow, lifeless work, a reflection of the emptiness that now consumed him. The entity's whispers faded, but the cabin bore the scars of his ordeal. It stood as a haunted place, a sanctuary for lost souls forever bound to its malevolent presence. Years passed, and the cabin's legacy lived on. John, a shadow of his former self, found himself drawn back to the isolation that had shattered his life. The whispers and shadows remained, an enduring reminder of the malevolent force that had ensnared him. He wandered the cabin, a solitary figure forever tormented by the horrors that lurked in the depths of the forest and the recesses of his own mind. The isolation remained, an eternal prison for John's soul. The cabin stood as a testament to the horrors of solitude, a place where reality and nightmare intertwined. As the seasons changed and the forest reclaimed its territory, the whispers of the entity echoed through the woods, waiting for the next unsuspecting soul to venture into the depths of its dark domain. The cabin, hidden deep within the woods, became a place of legend, a cautionary tale told by those who dared to speak of it. The isolation it offered was a seductive trap, luring in those who sought solitude and creativity, only to ensnare them in a never-ending nightmare. And as the world moved on, the cabin remained a dark and foreboding presence, a place where the solitude of the mind could lead to a descent into unending horror. One fateful night, as John's torment reached its zenith, he resolved to break free from the malevolent grasp of the cabin and its entity. Armed with a newfound determination, he began to dismantle the very walls that had witnessed his descent into madness. As John tore through the cabin's interior, the entity's whispers swelled into a crescendo of rage. Shadows coalesced, attempting to thwart his efforts. But John's desperation fueled his strength, and he shattered the windows, allowing the moonlight to flood the cabin. In the moonlight, the entity manifested in its true form, a writhing mass of darkness and despair. It lunged at John, attempting to drag him into its shadowy abyss. But John fought back with a ferocity born of years of torment. He wielded the diary, invoking the same ritual he had used to make his ill-fated bargain. The cabin trembled as an otherworldly battle raged within its walls. Shadows clashed with the spectral entity, and the very foundation of the cabin seemed to quiver. John's determination was his greatest weapon, and with a final incantation, he banished the entity from the cabin. With the entity's departure, the whispers that had tormented John faded into silence. The cabin, once a place of malevolence and despair, stood empty but no longer haunted. John had paid a steep price for his freedom, but he had reclaimed his sanity and his soul. The cabin trembled as an otherworldly battle raged within its walls. Shadows clashed with the spectral entity, and the very foundation of the cabin seemed to quiver. John's determination was his greatest weapon, and with a final incantation, he banished the entity from the cabin. John emerged from the cabin, a changed man. He had survived the isolation and the horrors it had harbored. As he made his way back to civilization, he carried with him the knowledge of the malevolent force that lurked in the depths of the forest, a force that thrived on solitude and despair. The cabin trembled as an otherworldly battle raged within its walls. Shadows clashed with the spectral entity, and the very foundation of the cabin seemed to quiver. John's determination was his greatest weapon, and with a final incantation, he banished the entity from the cabin. John's experience in the cabin became the basis for his most chilling and haunting novel. It was a story of isolation and horror, a cautionary tale for those who sought solitude without knowing the price it could exact. And as the world read his words, they shivered with the realization that the horrors of the human mind could be far more terrifying than any supernatural entity. Years passed, and the cabin remained an empty and silent sentinel in the woods. It had been cleansed of its malevolence, but the memory of the horrors that had transpired within its walls lingered. The forest, once a place of solace, now held an eerie, somber resonance, a testament to the enduring power of isolation and the darkness that could lurk within the human psyche.